Hi, my name is Alex. I'm just a 17-year-old man, or boy, whatever, that, has been on the quest for knowledge for many years. And I've had a difficult life, a rough life. Not as rough as some have it, but I do have a rough life nonetheless. And I had many dips and detours that I took in my life that didn't necessarily have to be there. Spiritually, mentally, physically, I've screwed up a lot. But I think I'm on the right path now. And that's why I'm making this documentary. It's, one guy's journey for truth, for knowledge. And I may never achieve it, but I hope that this documentary and everything I share with the world is not meaningless. I hope that someday someone will pick up on wherever I leave off. And I hope, most importantly, that I attain this knowledge, I attain this truth, but I know I may not. I know it's a hard journey. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that I won't know it all. I'll get close, I believe it. Somewhere in my life I'll get very close to the truth. But it's going to be a long, long time. It's going to take many, many years. Probably won't be as young as I am now. It's probably going to take me until I'm in my 40s and 50s, maybe even 60s, to attain true knowledge. And I'm well on my way there, though. So, this documentary is about me, but it's also about you in your journey and how far you have gone and what you have learned. It's not just about me. So don't think that this documentary is all about me and how, I'm so great and wonderful because I figured this out or that out. It's not at all like that. This is a burden to know the things I know, to feel the things I feel. It's a burden. Ignorance is bliss. And unfortunately, I've lost my ignorance. So I have to deal with it. So join me through this documentary in my quest for knowledge, in your quest for knowledge, and let's achieve it together. Those are frogs. They're scared of me. I I have no intention of hurting them, but they're scared. While walking in my local park, I realized that trees are so misunderstood. They're so harmed and hated by humanity. Trees have emotions. And I realized while walking in my local park that the path that was made of wood chips. And to any individual living in our society, this seems natural. This seems eco-friendly. And it seems fine. But in actuality, right now, I'm walking on organs. Piles and piles of organs. I had this epiphany, this flash into my imagination of organs on this road. This road is just organs. And when you think about it, that's the truth. Some evil people chop down a living creature. Look at this magnificent being. They chop down one of its brothers or sisters. In order to make a path for themselves. Who needs a path? I'm walking the grass right now. Who needs a path? We could have markers made from stone. You could have markers made from other materials such as plastic or whatever it may be. You don't have to make things with trees. What's wrong with us? Why would we kill these magnificent, giant beauties? They're just as alive as us, and they have emotions very similar to us. If you play music for a tree, the tree, or any plant, if you play music for any plant, for that matter, it will respond. It will either grow larger, or if you play music that is depressing and causes anxiety, the tree or the other plant, whatever it may be, will die, and it will be stunted in its growth. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us for killing these things? Because they're just like animals. They have so much knowledge and so much purity. And this is why the forest is so wonderful, because these beings can't harm us. They can't harm anybody. Plants are the purest form of life. And by destroying them and making a path out of their organs, out of their inner workings, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. So who needs a path? Who needs to follow this? Society always makes paths for us, and they tell us how we should live our lives, and just as this path is, it's unrighteous. It's wrong. It's not correct. I follow my own path. Sometimes I have to use these paths that society makes because it's the easiest form of transportation. But when I can, I veer off the road. I make my own path. And I don't destroy the environment around me like society tends to do. This is why the forest is so positive. It's positive because it's living and it's pure. And these plants don't harm you. They don't want to harm you. They have no intention to harm you. All they want to do is live in peace. They want to love and enjoy this world just as you should. What a horrible tragedy this path is. What a horrible tragedy. I am the most spiritual person I know. I confront friends and family about my spirituality and how I am religious. And these people don't believe me because I don't follow a religious organization, because I am not a part of a church. And for whatever reason, they have this misconception. The bugs love me. They have this misconception that in order to be religious, you must follow one of these organizations, and they will guide you in your spiritual journey. This is false. I utterly disagree with that, because all churches, all organizations are filled with corruption. They're filled with evil. Look at the Vatican. The Vatican is the purest. The irony in that. They are the truest definition of corruption. They have caused massive genocides before. The Crusades are a great example of this. They told people that we have to take over the Middle East to give it back to the Christians, and that all of the Muslims in the area are, evil, and they're not righteous or whatever, and Israel has to be brought back to Christians. And they wiped out innocent men, women, and children in order to propagate this agenda of killing innocent Muslims. The Vatican is extremely corrupt. This is why I'm not a Catholic. They, on multiple occasions, their highest priests have been rapists, pedophiles. Um, they're hypocrites. They've been gay before. They don't even follow their own teachings. And, they hire prostitutes and, they're the most unpure group. And they masquerade as a religious organization that is trying to help you. And they don't even allow their own followers to read the Bible for themselves. I'm serious. If you're not a Catholic, you wouldn't know this. But Catholics aren't allowed to read the Bible. They have to listen to their priests preach about God knows what, okay, that probably isn't even in the Bible, okay. They can make up anything at whim because these people have never read the Bible. They're told not to read the Bible because the Catholics believe that only priests can read Bibles. And it's just pure corruption. Now, people are going to say, well, why aren't you a Protestant then? If you're so, you have such strong, disliking for the Catholic Church. Well, the Protestants aren't any better. That's the problem. They fight amongst each other and they tell each other that you're not right because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist and you're a Lutheran, so you must be wrong because we actually worship on on Saturday. How? What? Or you hear the oh God, please save us. You hear the Lutherans say this, and the like I said, the Seventh-day Adventists. I can't think of the other ones. The Baptists and they're all corrupt. They're all evil. They all at the core of these organizations are just messed up. These bugs, they just come up to me and look at me. They're all corrupt, they're all evil, and the smaller churches, even the Catholic Church, I bet you they are pure, okay? And they are loving and accepting of all people in their churches, in their places of worship, but these places are hypocrites. Even the small churches, anywhere you go, they're hypocrites because, on one hand, they make these rules up that you can't drink, you can't take drugs, you can't party, you can't, do this and that, and then they turn around and they drink and they smoke and they party and they take drugs, and they're hypocrites. That's all they are. And that's why I don't go to church, because church ultimately is just full of hypocrites. And there's plenty of loving people in these places of worship, but I don't stand for hypocrisy. I can't stand for hypocrisy. And that's why I don't go to church. Because the corruption is at the highest levels, and then it trickles down into the smallest places. And, I've had people say, well, why don't you just go into another religion? And I say, well, they have the same problems. The Buddhists worship some guy, okay, that they randomly pick, okay, to be their god, okay, their false prophet. Just as the Pope is, he's just a false prophet. And, they worship some man that has no knowledge, no truth, and, it's just, it's a mess. The only religion that I connect really strongly with in their structural format is Hinduism, because they don't really have a structural format. They don't believe in a church or a place of worship. They believe that all places are places of worship, and that humanity coming together is what creates a place of worship, and that there is no hierarchy. There is no leader of a church or a temple. It's just individuals worshiping their God. And I believe that all the religions are interconnected in some way, shape, or form. They're all a representation of different parts. I'm a Christian personally, but I have to admit to myself that Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and all the other sorts of religions out there are so interconnected. They're not the same gods, they're not the same beings, but some of them are metaphorical, such as the gods in Hinduism and in Buddhism. Buddha and his enlightenment is just a metaphorical representation, and so are the gods in Hinduism. They're not real gods to me. I believe that they are a representation of the different parts of God, the different parts of the collective consciousness as a whole. So the churches are corrupt. They're just corrupt, and that's why I don't stand for church. That's why I don't go to church, because church is ultimately unrighteous, wrong, and evil. And they've killed many people in their past. All religions, Islam, Christianity, Buddhists have, Hindus have, and Taoism and all the other, Confucianism and all those other subgenres are just the same. They preach about these organizations specifically, not the religion itself, but the groups that masquerade as the religion itself cause destruction and chaos and conquer everything in their path in the name of this religion, because they can easily trick people into thinking that this organization that stands for Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, whatever it is, they can convince people that it's good, and that it's pure, and that it's not evil. So, I don't stand for hypocrites. That's why I don't go to church. This is why. This is why I don't go to church. Look at that big guy. Daddy long legs. Wow. This is why I don't want to go to church. I have no intention of going to church because the church is corrupt, as I've said before. But the earth, the plants, the animals are so pure. They have so much pure intention. They have no interest in harming us. You can feel the purity and the positivity emanating from the life around me. And you can feel the negativity from cars passing by. This is the edge right now. The edge of society and the edge of the temple. Plants are so pure. They let you walk all over them. They let you tease them, they let you touch them. And they don't engulf you, they don't eat you. Because they love you. And if you show care for these beautiful creatures, if you take care of them, they'll take care of you. And if you treat them with respect, they will treat you with respect. They love you. They absolutely love you. Their love is unconditional. Their love is limitless. And they're much wiser than you and I. Plants, that is. Because they've been here for a long time. They've had to put up with crazy things, storms, lightning. A squirrel, look at the squirrel. He's scared. But us humans, us animals, we don't know half of the hardships that these great, magnificent creatures have to endure. We don't understand half of it because we get to shelter, we run away from our problems. Well, nature has to withstand it all. They have to go through the test of time. And they have to last through every storm, every fire, every tornado, every tsunami. They have to last through all this, while us creatures that move, we just run. We run away. And we seek shelter. And the tree is not the only beauty. All plants are beautiful. Because they all have to go through this test. Oh. Hi, little guy. Why do you want to bother me so much? Wasp. Get out of my face. He landed on my head before. He must have not liked me by his flowers that he's claimed his. Maybe he was a bee. I couldn't tell. But whatever he was, he didn't like me. See, that's selfish. It's greedy. Because I wasn't harming him and I wasn't harming his flowers. I was simply traveling by and he didn't like me. So he had to land on my head and buzz into my face. But the plants are pure. The plants are wonderful and beautiful. And animals are just as beautiful for their own individual reasons. They're not corrupted by human greed, which is so great and powerful and pure evil. Their greed is a circumstance of survival. Animals don't want to kill each other. They don't want to steal food from their brothers and sisters in the wild, but they have to or they'll die. It's a dog-eat-dog world for them. While us as human beings, we are corrupted by greed and lust and envy that we have to boast about our materialism and our survival is only trivial. You don't have to withstand any test of any sort. You're provided a home and shelter, your home is your shelter. You're provided food and clothing, and you don't have to work for your food, your shelter, your clothing, your warmth. Yeah, you have to go work 9 to 5 at some restaurants or office, but it's nothing like this. You're not fighting for your life. This is why the forest is my temple. This is why I feel at home here. Because the problems that humanity has is not here. Our selfishness, our greed, our lust, our envy, our pridefulness is not shown in this realm. Because we don't own this domain. It's not ours. We haven't corrupted it yet. It's coming, but we only keep it because we have to. Without the plants, without the trees, there would be no life. And humans would die. We're living in a cohabitat with these beings. People are so naive to the beauty, to the wonderfulness of nature. So, at a very young age, I began my quest for truth and knowledge without really realizing it. I didn't really know that I was searching for truth and knowledge because I thought that was normal. I thought that was what everyone does because this world is so confusing and so mystifying and just utterly strange. So I thought, as a kid, exploring was normal because there was no seed in my mind at this time that exploring and searching for new ideas was a bad thing. When I grew up into my teens is when society started telling me that thinking for yourself is a bad thing and that creativity is a horrible thing to have. But at a very young age, I searched into aliens and ghosts and spirits, and I very much believed in these things. And the school system that I was in kept telling me that these things I was searching into were nothing more than crazy things on the internet. Things I hear all the time. Oh, bugs. Gotta love them. I was told that, these videos that I was watching and these websites and all these things, all these books were written and created by nothing but crazy people. And that, anyone could have the internet, therefore they can create whatever BS they want to spew, and that means everything on the internet must not possibly be credible if it questions authority and questions reality. That can't be real then, because there's no questioning that's allowed. That's what I was always taught when I was young. And I rebelled against this because, come on, any idiot can see if they tell you you can only believe what they tell you to believe, that must mean they're lying to you. That's human nature. So I started to believe in aliens, especially. Not so much ghosts and spirits. I entertained the idea, but I wasn't so much interested in ghosts and spirits. I was really interested in aliens. Because if aliens exist, that means everything I know in my world is wrong. It means that history has been rewritten to hide these beings, and that governments are lying, and that organizations are lying, and that they have some sort of ulterior motive, I guess is what I was trying to say. They have some evil intention by hiding the existence of these beings. And I didn't believe in the abduction stories and the these ghost sighting stories, a lot of them, because they were BS, and you could tell that they were these people were paid off to lie to the public to get them to think that the alien truth community, or whatever you want to call them, the Area 51 searching, Roswell, whatever, to get us to look like crazies. I believe that they were all paid off. And this is amazing for a 10-year-old to come to these conclusions, because, what 10-year-old thinks that, there's anything evil in the world? Clearly, I had a noggin to think with. And I had a friend that was just like me. And we both looked into, these things. And we shared many of the things that we discovered. The bugs are really bad over here. We shared many of the things that we discovered together. And I didn't believe everything he believed, and he didn't believe everything I believed. But we're human, so that's natural. We come to our own conclusions, and, we're not carbon cutouts of each other. Or at least as of right now. In the future, some dystopian world, the elites and, globalists might want us to be carbon cutouts, but at the moment, we're individual. So, this was my experience with aliens and with ghosts and such. It was very, very interesting. The time I saw a UFO. This was many, many years ago. I was on a vacation, and I was it was a very, very bad vacation. The vacation itself wasn't bad, but the events that were happening during the vacation were terrible. We were camping during the early morning and late evening, and during the day between, we would, me and my family, would go to an amusement park. And this by itself is actually a very cool idea. You get the best of both worlds. You get nature and you get adrenaline, junky activities, which is always fun. And it was a very fun vacation on that aspect. But what happened was, when we got to the campground, there were these birds that fell out of a nest. And they basically, their parents or whatever, never came back to the nest. Hi. And they left all their little, babies behind, basically, and left them to die. So basically all of them died except one, and we were nursing that one, and we gave it water, we gave it some crumbs to chew on or whatever, and basically it got snatched up by a hawk right in front of us. And after that really sucked, but after that it got worse. Two of my relatives died in a car crash in the same car. One of them was still alive that night that I saw the UFO, but she was in the hospital in a coma. And actually her death was pretty tragic because she actually woke up out of a coma and then heard that her husband, it was my great aunt and uncle, my aunt, she heard that, great aunt, whatever, heard that my great uncle died in the car crash instantaneously. Well, not instantaneously, he was dead from the start, but he died from internal bleeding hours afterwards. She basically went into shock and died after that. So it was just a horrible experience overall. But basically the night that I got the news that my great uncle died in the car crash was when I saw the UFO. And my mom went to bed early, and so did my little brother. And I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, and I was in 5th grade, I believe, maybe 4th grade, I can't remember, and it was this summer in between, 2 grades, so it might have been 4th grade, might have been 5th grade, I don't know. I saw, me and my dad were at a campground, or campfire, excuse me, and we were just staring at the fire, and my dad was drinking, and it was just the two of us talking about what had happened that day, and how horrible it pretty much was, overall. And basically what ended up happening was, in the middle of this conversation, this orb, a orangish, reddish, yellowish orb. I can't really describe the color too well because it seemed to be shaded in different areas with different colors. So it was like, it was yellow, orange, and red, but it was like mostly orange, I would say, and then it was like highlighted in certain areas like an orb would, or a sphere. You know how you shade the sphere? Well, the shaded part would be the yellow, and the rest of the sphere would be orange or reddish. So this sphere is going through the sky very, very slowly, just moving to the side like this, just moving very slowly. It's very high in the sky, and my dad didn't see it because he was turned the other way. And I said, out of confusion, I knew it wasn't what I said, but I said, is that a blimp? And I said this because I was in shock from what I'm seeing is this orb traveling through the sky very slowly. And he's like, no man, that's, I think quote what he said was, no man, that's a UFO. So we're walking in this campground, and everyone in the campground has stopped looking at their fires and doing whatever they were doing, and they began to walk into the middle of this, there was like a road, so it was a very clearing, like a large clearing was the road, so we all stood into the road. So there's maybe about 10 people, including me and my dad, and we're looking at this UFO, and it stops. It wasn't abruptly, it just, when it was creeping over here, it slowed down and just stopped in midair, and we're all staring at it, and it seemed to be spinning, but in place. It was spinning in place, and it looked, it had this illumination similar to the moon this entire time. It never changed its illumination, but it's just at that moment it was very clear that it was turning, but it had this like glow, and it kind of lit up the sky slightly. And then after that, when it was like this, it zoomed off behind, well, that's what it appears that happened. It basically was this orb, and it went backwards, and it got smaller as it went backwards, unless it actually shrank in size. I don't know, but it appeared from where we were at that it slightly moved a little bit and went backwards. So that was the time I saw a UFO. It was about one of the weirdest experiences ever. After that, I did have strange dreams that could be similar to an abduction like scenario, but I think they were nothing more than dreams because I didn't get panic attacks from these situations, these dreams. But I would get them months afterwards about these creatures that look like praying mantises. And they would show me around in their ship. So, but I don't think I was abducted or anything, but I do know for sure that I saw a UFO that night. There's more than what meets the eye. I've experienced all sorts of things. Obviously, I've seen or come in contact with extraterrestrial beings, but I've also come in contact with spiritual entities as well. And these experiences were quite scary, actually, and startling. The only instance that I've seen ghosts was at a party. And it was a lot of guys. It was 5 guys. Late at night, we're at my friend's house. I believe it's his birthday party. And we're like 12 years old at this time. And we're sitting in his living room, just talking about ghost stories, actually. That's the funny part. And his house has always been very creepy, and it's always seemed haunted. He showed me before different rooms in his house where you get this creepy vibe in, particularly his parents' closet. It's a giant walk-in closet, and when you walk in there, you literally feel like there's a murderer in there, even though there's nothing there. It's not cluttered or anything. It doesn't look like, someone could pop out of the closet, but it's very creepy. And his own room, pretty much his entire upstairs, has that creepy vibe to it. And his downstairs kind of has that vibe, but it's a little bit less. So we're downstairs, me and the party, and we're telling spooky ghost stories, and one of my friends said, look at that over there, and he was screaming about this orb. He said that there was like this ball of light, and we called him crazy. We said, stop being a dumbass, you're crazy. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And he started crying. He's like 12 years old. So we're like, no, dude, you're just insane. And he started like shaking and stuff. And he was freaking out about some instance. He used to live in Poland. And he was talking about this instance where he experienced some sort of ghost at his house. Near his house, and he absolutely freaked out and fell asleep instantaneously, pretty much. And we were like, this is weird. So after that, we continued to talk for a bit, and maybe 10-20 minutes later, a rag, mind you, we're all in the same room, there's no one that could physically do this, a rag, like a dish rag, from the kitchen got thrown into our room. It flew straight at us. This freaked me out, and I was the only one to witness it too. So they were like, oh, you're just crazy. They pulled the same thing that they did to my friend. And I'm like, no, I really saw this rag. It's right there. And they're like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, yes, I just experienced that rag fly across the room towards us. It didn't hit any of us, but it was like right at the edge of the doorway, and it wasn't there before. And it literally, I saw it fly from inside the kitchen to the doorway. So we were walking around, and we went into my friend's kitchen that was hosting the party, and all the pots and pans were upright. So we're kind of walking around his house, and we come back, and I was the one to witness this again. And I said, oh my God, guys, all of the cabinets and pots and pans are like moved. And they were like, what are you talking about? And they all walked in and experienced the exact same thing as me. Like all of the cabinets in the entire kitchen were open. And all of the pots and pans were flipped upside down. And this was within seconds. I was just in the kitchen, and all the, cabinets were closed, and all the pots and pans were facing upright. And then when I walked back into the room 15 seconds later, they all were changed and moved. And I said, oh my God, guys, I didn't do this. And they didn't believe me at first. And then they started to think about it, and they're like, holy crap. How could that physically happen within 10 seconds, or 15 seconds, whatever it was? So that's my experience with ghosts. But I've also experienced astral beings, astral entities through astral projection. And these entities are very odd and mystifying. I've had conversations with them, and I was never able to understand what they're saying, because they communicate in a very unconventional way. They talk in a certain tone that's almost undescribable. It's like chanting or mystifying, and it's really hard to pick out exactly what they're saying. But in the moments when I do astral projections, I understand these beings and what they're saying. So I find it very interesting, that these beings and these entities, whether or not they exist, whether or not they're real, they're also quite just mystifying, and it makes you wonder what type of energies they have, whether or not they're positive or negative, because you definitely feel something when you come in contact with these beings. My ghost story, that was a very negative being. It was scary. It was terrifying. It was creepy. But these astral beings are very mystifying and confusing, but not negative and not really positive either. They're just kind of neutral. And, I've heard many ghost stories over the years of positive beings coming into people's lives, and family members, friends coming back to life. Now these stories have not been personal. I don't know anybody that has seen a family member, but I've heard these stories over the years, and they make me wonder what the energies truly are, the vibrations, what they truly mean. I find it interesting. The soul. The soul is one of the most controversial, yet so widely talked about ideas, and humans have adopted the idea of a soul for so long. And I want to dive into the concept of the soul, what it actually means, because the soul ultimately is the driving force of humanity, one of the major driving forces for humanity, probably the only driving force for humanity. And the soul ultimately is consciousness. Consciousness is the soul, because without the soul you're not living. Without consciousness you're not living. And I'm going to have a lot of people say, well, you can be unconscious and still alive. Well, no, not exactly. When you're sleeping, you're unconscious, but your consciousness still is aware. It is alive. It is making things up in your own head. The subconscious is almost always working. And the internal workings of your body has to be controlled by the brain ultimately. And whether or not you call that consciousness, the deep wiring of your brain to remind you to breathe, for your heart to beat, and circulate blood through your body, and the reminder to swallow, and all that. You could argue whether or not that's really life, but for sure the subconsciousness is almost always working, and so is consciousness. As much as people like to pretend that you can be alive without being conscious, the consciousness really is there through dreams, through the imagination. It's just not represented in the physical form when you're in a coma, or whatever it may be. But the soul ultimately is consciousness. There's almost no arguing about this, because without consciousness you can't live, and without the soul you can't live. And this is truly the definition of the soul. It's just consciousness. So this leads me to some problems with this, because people say, well, once you're dead, consciousness is gone, because we believe that consciousness is found in the brain. when in actuality consciousness is beyond the brain. You can be brain dead and still be aware. How do you explain near-death experiences where people literally claim to have gone into other worlds for months, if not years, and come back? And then they explain their journey, and everyone's baffled because they were clinically dead for 10 seconds. The brain stopped, the heart stopped, they stopped breathing. They physically were dead for 10 seconds, 5 seconds. And these people claimed to have gone into other worlds. How is this possible unless the consciousness continues beyond the body? It's not possible unless that's true. And that means that the brain doesn't create consciousness. And that means that the soul actually exists, because the soul is forever traveling, forever going. And it doesn't end when the body ends. And that's my interpretation of the soul. The soul is consciousness, and consciousness never ends. It's just the ego that ends, the body that ends. And wherever we go after that is a complete mystery. But it is true that soul is consciousness. I wanted to talk about vibrations. You know, the world is full of vibrations, like this wind. This wind is a vibration. It vibrates the plants, it vibrates my body, it blows up against my face, it vibrates the hairs on my delicate little face. Vibrations are everywhere. And when we're talking about spiritual vibrations, we're talking about what people give off. The aroma, the appearance that they give off to the world. And this isn't a physical appearance. We're talking a spiritual one, in which their emotions are brought out to the rest of the world, and you simply could just feel it. And you know, people don't believe in this. They think it's new age crap, and that, you know, it's all just a bunch of BS anyway. But when you really look at it, it's true. The human body vibrates. We have a vibration. The heart gives off a vibration. Everything gives off a vibration. There's a movement there. And, you know, spiritually, the idea is that people that have a lot of negativity within them, they give off low vibrations. And they have this like low murmur, this like sound, you know, while people with high vibrations are very happy people that give off this, you know, this beautiful little tune. And I wanted to talk about how vibrations can affect you, but they ultimately come from you. What do I mean by this? So, everybody has a vibration. Everything has a vibration. Every piece of life has vibration. These trees I'm walking by, they have vibration. The grass I'm walking on, the clovers I'm walking on, these tall things, that dragonfly that just passed by my head, the water, the wind, it all has vibration. It's a sign of life. And you're going to say, well, the wind doesn't have life. The wind is just air. The earth, it's symbolizing the earth, people. Earth itself is life. And, yeah. So, the vibration thing, what I was trying to get at, was that we feel these vibrations all the time, and we ultimately have the choice whether or not to fight against the vibration that is around us. It's not an easy task, but it can be accomplished. We can make our own vibration that's stronger than the rest of the environment. So, for example, you're in an environment where everybody is negative. They're all extremely angry people. They all give off all this hatred and, they just hate everybody. You can go with the flow and let them vibrate you, or you can make your own positive vibration and not let them get to you. It's very hard to do, but you can do it. It can be accomplished. You can look at the brighter side of things, and vice versa. There's many people that go into a extremely positive environment and they give off these negative vibrations. They give off hatred and anger. And usually these people don't do it out of their free will. They do it because they already have that strong vibration within them. But the point is, the choice is ultimately yours. The environment around you, although it will convince you, it will make suggestions, it's not a, what's the term? It doesn't, it's just a motivator. It doesn't force you to do anything you don't want to do. And that's the point. The point is that you choose whatever you want to do. And nobody can tell you differently. So, since you have that wonderful, powerful choice, why don't you just use it for good? I'm by a really, really busy street. So I'm going to have to kind of scream to you guys, because this is right by my house and this is a really busy area. I haven't been here in a long time, so that's why I'm here. So if you hear all the cars in the background, that's why. It's very, very loud. Now it's not so loud anymore, but it's going to get loud in a second, because more cars will come. There's a car. There's another car. So this is a two-way street with 2 lanes in it, so there's a lot of cars that come through. There's another wave of cars coming, but yeah, this isn't about the cars. This is about walking on the edge of society, walking next to civilization, and how you can feel the vibration, feel the life from the cars that come by. Now it's suddenly dead. And you can feel that. You can feel that deadness, that just, now it's only me kind of feeling. Now there's a bunch of cars coming and you can feel it. You know what I mean? And it's not just the sound, it's the feeling. You can physically, you get this feeling over you that there's a presence amongst you. These strangers that just drive by for a couple seconds, you can feel them. Some of them negative, some of them positive. Generally, they're pretty brainless, mind dead, because they're focusing on other things in their life and not living in the now. They're focusing on driving. But sometimes you can feel that little glimpse of hope, of some life in these people, but generally it's pretty brain dead, low vibrations there, not that special, but I just wanted to demonstrate that. Go for a walk sometimes and just pick that up, feel that, because you will feel it. You will feel it from people in cars, people doing work. So yeah, these vibrations are everywhere. They're all around you. Everywhere you look, there's some sort of vibration there, some sort of life. And if you really tune into it, if you really pay close attention to the emotions that come over you in different environments around different people, you will find that you have this energy force that you can pick up on whim if you choose to. Once you really tune into it, you'll notice that. You'll notice that it's very easy to tune into once you get used to it. And got bugs on me. You'll start to enjoy life a lot better. I did. Once I began, tuning into these vibrations, these energies around you. You'll really feel in tune with nature, with the universe. And you'll feel a lot more connected with people, because you can understand where they're coming from in different situations. And you have more empathy and understanding than you ever did before. And I use this very much as a tool to my benefit, because then you view people as brothers and sisters instead of strangers, So begin to silently observe the world around you and pick out what you're feeling. How does this make you feel? This makes me feel feel amazing, feel great, feel one with it. Because when you're in this moment, just staring off into this field, you see so much life, so much beauty around you. And you realize that you're just a small speck in this forest. Just a small speck. A small little vibration within the whole entire thing. It's quite beautiful. Alrighty, so this is my form of meditation. Laying in the grass and staring at whatever's above me. I think this tree was a really good spot to do this, because trees are so detailed. You can see, like, the tree, for example, has all these ridges right here, and has all these individualized leaves that have their own little details. They have little brown spots and holes and ridges, and the different sizes, and then the branches themselves are very interesting looking and very detailed themselves. And all the branches are not the same, they're very different. But what I do for meditation is I just lay on my back in some grass and just look at the sky. That's all I do. Also, another thing that's really good to do is laying like this and just kind of staring out really close to the ground like this, and just seeing the world in a little bit different perspective. But typically I just look in the sky to do my meditation. Find that normal meditation with sitting in a what's the term? What did they say in elementary school? Sitting in a pretzel shape or whatever, and having your hands touching together doesn't really help me.
I find it's kind of useless. I can stay more still if I'm laying on my back, and just, I can clear my head of thoughts if I'm just staring at the sky, and I pay attention to the details of the clouds, or the leaves above me, or the branches, or the tree itself, like right here. I find clouds are very mystifying whenever you're trying to do this, but normal meditation, like I said, doesn't work. It just doesn't. Walks in the woods, I almost would venture to say, is a form of meditation. If you live in the now, if you live in the moment and don't let your thoughts, withdraw you from what's actually going on. If you actually live in the now, that's the best way of meditating. So basically, you could do anything and meditate. I've been looking into it, and there's people that meditate while working out. It's difficult, but you can do it. And I believe I do it too. I don't like working out, so it's a pretty negative experience overall. But yeah, you can really meditate any way you want. You just live in the now, in the moment, and empty your head of thoughts that take you out of the now. Living in the now, like experiencing the details, like thinking about the details of life is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not taking away from your experience, you're helping it. Ooh, that airplane was pretty close. But yeah, this is what I do to meditate, and it's so helpful and so relaxing. I love it. Everybody's gotta, lay in a patch of grass at least one time in their life. It completely changes your life if you do it for hours. It's beautiful. So I'll see you guys later. Peace. I've come across this hill, this ginormous hill, this massive hill. But this hill is not made of dirt, it's not made of rubble, it's made of wood chips. And this hill is beautiful. The aroma that is emitted from this is absolutely gorgeous. It smells like decomposing earth. You can tell that this is going to turn into dirt one day. You can just tell. It's so close. So close. But it's not there yet, obviously. But it's so beautiful because it's the representation of death itself. That it's so beautiful. Yet it looks so menacing, so negative, when in fact it's gorgeous. And this gargantuan monstrosity of death is just amazing. There's no other way to describe this thing. It's, like I said, it smells
like death, like decomposing earth, decomposing organisms. And it's horrible because, you know, trees had to die to make this massive grave of a hill. It's horrible. But it's beautiful at the same time, because they're still living in some form through this dirt-like substance. They're still alive. That energy is still there. The vibrance from the trees, the positivity is still here. You can feel it. You can see it. Really look at it for a second. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe it. Oh my. Is it beautiful? It most certainly is. Oh, so gross. Why are these bugs not afraid of me? Oh. Ugh. I got some bug to, he flew past my head. Then there was it was a grasshopper to be specific. And then there was a second grasshopper. Can't even talk. It landed right in my mouth. Not in my mouth, but like on my mouth. And I went like that, and he flew away. But it's just gross. It's gross, but it's actually kind of cool when you think about it. You know, I guess I can say now that I've kissed a grasshopper. It's freaking weird. pricked myself. I wanted to check out these little acorns. There's like a hole in it. I don't know if you could see. Yeah, there. It's like a hole in it. Some sort of animal made a home here. But, quite interesting, huh? So all the mushrooms are gone now, and I gotta get past this little thing. Ow. But all the mushrooms and stuff are gone, which is unfortunate. I enjoyed mushroom hunting with my dad that one time, well, a couple times. Just I recorded that one time on camera, but I enjoyed doing that. It's something fun. You know, because they're tasty and yeah. But now I'm just traveling. Isn't that an interesting little log? I don't know if you can see it too well, but it looks very weird. Very weird. So, just walking. Can't tell, but I think there's people up there. But I can't help but love this. I mean, don't you? There's a little chipmunk right there. He ran off. But I mean, seriously, take a look at this. Let's get off into the bush, quote unquote, and look at that. How can you not love this? That's the question I have for people. How can you not love this and not want to live here? Because every time I'm here, I fall in love. This is absolutely beautiful. There's something over there, really big. It's like moving those bushes. But yeah, I don't know. How would you not want to live here? Because this is heaven. At least it is for me. Overall, the quest for truth and knowledge, finding truth, is very difficult. Because when you go deep down into the rabbit hole, you find that truth itself is not discoverable. It can't be found, it can't be seen, it can't be touched, it can't be felt. It can only be believed. Because deep down, we don't really know anything. We never will know anything in this life. And this is scary to some people. It's scary to me, or at least it was, until I came to understand something very important. And it's the fact that if you just let go of yourself, let go of the world, and realize for a second that there's something way beyond you controlling the forces of nature, controlling the universe, whether it be a god or, a spiritual entity or entities, or maybe it's just controlled by randomness. No one will know. You won't know in this life. And this doesn't mean to give up your quest, to just lay down and say I give up. But this is to show you that we really won't know. No one will know the actual truth about this world and this universe. But the only truth is, you should love everyone. You should. There's no reason not to love every single human being, good or bad, big or small, dark or light, because we're all brothers and sisters in this world. And this is the point. You can make the world any way you want. You can choose to hate everyone. You can choose to hate, the elites that control us. You can hate, your boss. You can hate your teachers. You can hate everyone in the world if you wanted to. But why do that? Why not feel bad for the people that have negativity within them? And try to show them love and compassion. Being frustrated is completely healthy. This is normal. You should be frustrated with everyone at times. But there's no reason to hold hatred in your heart for another human being, or an animal, or any piece of life. Hatred isn't healthy. So that's the point. That's the point of this all. That reality is dreamlike. And you will be much happier if you are in love.